The United States government refuses to leave me alone. They just started flashing the power on and off to my home. Um, they have the federal defender and his psychotherapist wife. They have them analyzing my briefs that I send into court so they can coordinate with defense counsel to deny the briefs on this premeditated scheme they've set up with the United States government. So they're harassing me nonstop. I just posted an event for individuals to attend so I can earn some income because they pretty much blacklisted me from all financial and insurance carriers. They have the FBI contacting people that I send resumes to, telling them not to contact me, not to hire me. They're blocking my emails. So I came up with a way to try to create income because I have bills to pay. My mortgage is due. I got to eat. They have SNAP denying benefits. I don't even know if they sent benefits because you can't even get into the website, so you have no clue what's going on with that. They had the Palmer worm from the Bible. They had her questioning me on the phone, so I'm pretty sure she denied for me to receive benefits. So I need to be able to eat, to pay my bills. My gas bill is due. My electric bill is due. All the bills are due. And so I asked the court because, defense counsel, they've been lying. And of course, they've been making up stuff. The court's okay with it because everybody's been in on this scheme from the beginning. And so I started loading up stuff to create revenue, to talk about pro se litigant services. So what they're doing right now, they got pissed about that because I just uploaded it on the internet. So they got pissed about that. They started shutting off the power, flickering off the power in this room. They turned off the power, they turned off the internet, they turned everything off. Then they did it again, then they did it again. And they've been flashing it on and off. They refuse to leave me alone. It's the United States government. They're coordinating with the courts. They're coordinating with the federal defender and his psychotherapist wife. That's why they have the police authoring fraudulent police reports, calling people demented. They started this mess in 2018 when they was doing fake welfare checks. You can't even go to the hospital to get checked out because the hospital will start giving you involuntary welfare checks. They won't even treat you for what you come in for. They got the FBI going into the hospital telling the nurses and the FBI, the doctors, to bang on the walls in the rooms that they sit me in to harass me. And then they have the doctor come into the room to take my blood pressure and say, "Oh, you have high blood pressure. You're getting high blood pressure. What's going on?" And so they do this right when they sit me in the room. So then they're like, "Oh, your blood pressure is spiked," because of course they've been banging on the walls. I reported this to the court, but the federal defender with his psychotherapist wife, they decided that, this is not something that they're interested in. The judge specifically told me on the March 27th call that me being harassed by law enforcement and defendants is not his problem. He said my personal safety is not his problem. So I asked him to assist me with, because I have to keep filing motions for the court because defendants keep making up lies. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to do all that." And then he denied motions before he even had the chance to review them. He was like, "Oh, yeah, that's one you just sent in. That's pretty much going to be denied, too." So all of this has been on the call. I pretty much have been minding my own business, doing my own thing. But, of course, that is a problem for the United States government that's sitting here watching me in my home, monitoring my social media, monitoring my emails. So they get pissed off when I do something, when I'm not engaging in their nonsense of terrorizing and torturing American citizens. I sent this information to the court, but of course the premeditated scheme they already had set up was to deny every motion that I send in. So that's what they've been doing. I sent in over 25 already since they terminated my counsel coordinating with the EEOC and the judges. Now, it's a funny coincidence that the new federal defender that just so happens to be from Chicago, where defense counsel's law firm Sefra Shaw is from, which is the United States President's, that's his personal family law firm. They do all type of business services for him. So those are his lawyers. So it's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that the judge, the fifth judge that they added to my case, the third one that had a conflict that they added to my case, this judge, his wife happened to live in Willamette. Illinois, which is where Jerry is from. And the judge is like, you can't file any more motions talking about the judges or the attorneys or any witnesses. First of all, you can investigate witnesses, especially if they're going to be witnesses that's speaking about your case. So he's like, no, you can't speak about that, and you can't speak about the judges or the attorneys, because of course I've been finding things that shows that they premeditated this nonsense and have been coordinating with the United States government pretty much since this case started over a decade ago to harass me. So because I'm not being entertained by their nonsense, because I didn't get pissed off because of their March 27 call, because I pretty much already knew how it was going to go. He was already asking counsel, hey counsel, are there any more rules that you would like for me to add to tell Latanya so we can make? He goes, okay, that's going to be rule number 5. That's going to be rule number 6. So that's what they were doing on the call. So I pretty much, and then he was talking to me in a condescending tone. First of all, he's younger than I am. So I'm his elder. He should be speaking to me in a more professional tone. But of course he didn't do that because his psychotherapist's wife told him to get someone excited to cross and to get pissed off. That's what you do. You talk to them in a demeaning, condescending fashion. So that's what he did on the first call that we had. Now back to him living in Chicago. So while he was a public defender, his wife lived in Wilmette. Now, Wilmette, Illinois is not a very big city. He was already working for Northern Illinois, which is Cook County, as a public defender, which is Sephra Shaw's client. So that was already an issue that I had. So I recently found that they live not too far from each other. I pulled up their information, and it turns out that Gerald and Lisa, the attorney, Sephra Shaw, that submitted the fraudulent information and offered me his wife's birthday, he now lives 2.1 miles from where the judge's wife used to live. Now, this case is in Colorado. That judge is in Colorado now. Now, don't you think this is a coincidence? But basically, this is what I've been dealing with, this premeditated scheme to harass me, this premeditated scheme for them to all cover themselves. They're covering Shane Cato Cruz, his law firm that allowed fraudulent salary discovery into evidence, into court. And, the evidence was so fraudulent, you can look at it and just see that it was a bunch of made up nonsense. So they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about anything. So they only want to talk about this case as a employment matter, Title VII employment matter. They don't want to talk about any constitutional violations that these individuals have been engaging in violating since 2010. He's like, no, you got to file that in a separate motion. So they got surveillance cameras they placed all over my home to sit and watch and monitor how they're harassing me. Now, this, of course, is being done with the United States government. All the FBI directors that they've been rotating into the FBI office. Pretty much the attorneys that the presidents that they've been placing into office. All of these individuals are connected to Sephra Shaw, who has them as their legal counsel. So they've been getting away with this nonsense. They've been assaulting me with directed energy weapons. They've been assaulting me with sonic cannons. They've been sending bioweapon microscopic tests through my HVAC system. The new judge, thought that was funny, of course. So he's on the call like, oh yeah, I don't want to hear about any more microscopic tests. And he's saying that in like a fashion where he's laughing at it. And at the beginning of the call, he asked me, oh, how are you doing? And then closer to the middle of the call, he was like, yeah, your safety is not my concern. So he started the call trying to be, friendly, so he didn't turn into a whole complete, all the way through the call. He decided to try to soften it up because that's what his psychotherapist's wife told him to do. So this is what they've been doing. This is what they've been coordinating in. But all I know is I think it's mighty funny that someone purchased a home for $700,000 and now all of a sudden is worth over $1 million. All these judges and all these attorneys, they've been getting compensated through, it appears like it's the tax authority are manipulating their home prices like they're doing the homes over here that I reported to the court, and then they're evaluating or increasing the valuation of their properties, and that's how they're paying these judges. Because there's no way that the mediator on my case, we'll get into that on another call, there's no way that she's paying for a $3.5 million house when her salary as a judge was less than $200,000 a month. Now I made $200,000. No, $200,000 a year. Now I made $200,000 a year, and I know I can't afford no $3.5 million house. So, and her husband was retired, and I pretty much know that his Social Security benefits and his salary as a teacher didn't allow them to pay for no $3.5 million house. But that's how they've been paying these people, and that's what's going on. So right now they're pissed off that I'm trying to figure out a way to make money to pay my bills. So they're sitting in here shutting off the power, flickering off the power on and off into my home. The United States government, Colorado court, they've already had the Attorney General delete his email address and then add it back, because I had sent the information into the court that they have all deleted their email accounts when someone's trying to report obstruction and fraud to the Colorado government. Georgia's been off the charts from the beginning. So you can't even send anything to the state of Georgia. They ain't going to listen to you to begin with. Colorado, I thought, was a different story, but they're on the same nonsense that Georgia's on. But long story short, this is what I'm dealing with. My name is Latanya Nicole Ford. You guys can see it from my pages that I've been posting the information. They've been coordinating this with all the attorneys. Every attorney that's been on this case have been involved, whether it's the plaintiff's attorney, the EEOC, or the defendant's counsel. This is the nonsense that has been going on. And ain't nobody going to do anything about it. Congress, the White House, they're not interested. They don't give a shit if you're being assaulted or tortured with military equipment. They don't care. I've been reporting this to them since 2015, and they've been ignoring my emails ever since. The only thing that they've been doing is playing little games like defense counsel is doing. Since I live in the state of Georgia, what she decided to do was change her email font to a Georgia font. So every time she sends me an email, she makes sure that it's a Georgia font, because this is a little type of psychological nonsense, the games that they play. Now it seems the court has, of course, gotten into it, because I posted a picture on my website what I was doing, and it showed a gavel. So the judge made sure that they put into the court docket, changes were made because of a gavel. These are the type of nonsense, the games that the United States government is doing with the judges in Colorado. I'm pretty sure it's going down in every courtroom in every state, and they refuse to leave me alone. They refuse to leave me alone. They have issues. They're the ones that have issues. They're the ones that need a psychotherapist to assess their competence, because as you can see, they all have issues.